play here or not. We're getting another high draft pick this year. Of course, we all know what happened with Steven Stamkos, our #1 pick from the year before, that started off a little shaky, but ended up being.
I think he can play. I think he might be a keeper. That's
I was giving him last week.
Yeah.
He can play. So I mean, we got to just stick to the game plan here. We can't veer from it and think that we're going to change things overnight. And I think that they understand that.
Well, and Andy, you look at Philly a couple of years back. They went from worse to right back in. You just get a couple of key pieces. You keep the core of your team. Obviously, goaltending. Mike Smith, I believe. He's an elite level goaltender. He showed that early in the season when he was facing 52, 42 shots.
Yeah.
You know, I think he's the guy back there. You know, you got some good young prospects behind him with Ramo. But you know, I think you're one or two pieces away in hockey. You got to have that core, which we have with obviously Marty and Vinny, and you know guys like that, and Steven Stamkos. But I think you get one or two pieces. You maybe get that defenseman, that free agent defenseman. You get one or two guys in the back end, and you know, this is a totally different team, and they're going to be competitive, and they're going to be right back in the thick of things. And I think hockey's a sport where you keep your core together, but you add a couple of those key pieces. Because you can't change too much. I think that's the thing. If you change too much, then you have too many new guys, and it's hard to implement your system. But you know, with Coach Tocchet, he's done a lot of good things in that dressing room, and from talking to guys, and he's an honest guy. If you work hard and you play hard, you get to play for him. If not, you know, he's already said if you're not in shape coming into next year, you're going to be in deep trouble.
What kind of coach is Tocchet?
Well, I mean, he kind of coaches the way he played, which was very hard to play against.
No nonsense, no BS.
And you know, he's a hard-nosed guy that is going to demand a lot of his players. I think that's something going into this year at the end of last year. You could sense that in the dressing room. You could sense that on the ice. These guys are going to play hard for him. I mean, he's a young guy that's still got to learn. I mean, obviously he's only coached half a year as a head coach, but he's been around the NHL a long time. Obviously, as a player.
He's won Stanley Cups.
He's won Stanley Cup. He's played with great players. So I think, you know, the next step that he's going to take is to get his team ready for September and going into the playoffs. He's going to demand the accountability that needs to be there.
And he was the main reason, obviously, why Steven Stamkos, not that he wasn't a great player, but I think he really took him aside, you know, because he had played with Gretzky, you know, he coached with Gretzky, he played with Mario Lemieux and Herbert Jagger and Ron Francis and good players like that when they were younger. And, you know, he was a guy that really, his tutelage really helped Steven Stamkos along, and you saw that obviously later in the season with his confidence and the way he played. And, you know, I think he was real integral in his development.
He's an 18-year-old kid. I mean, he just needed to learn how to do it. And I think he was a quick learner. He listened. He's a good kid to start off with, and he just had to figure it out that, you know, I'm not the top of the game anymore where I was in junior hockey and minor hockey.
Everybody's good in the NHL.
They're all good players. You're going to have to work. You're going to have to work.
You know, I've always said, it's like football. I've always said it. You were the top guy at your college, but when you get in, every one of those guys, that's why they're playing, and it's the same
bigger,
thing.
faster, you know,
right,
they move
they were
quicker.
the top guy on their team. That's why they're here. It's not like he was the fourth guy on the team.
Well, you're playing against guys that are 6'4", 220 that are almost as fast as you or as fast as you, so it's a little different than junior where you know, he was blown by guys like they were nothing. So.
And it's, you know, like I said, the program, they stuck to the program with him, and they got dividends at the end. So I look for big things out of this team. I really do. I think that the pressure's off them. You know, they just got to go out and play. They just got to go out and play this within the system, be accountable every night. To me, that's the main thing, is that there's no nights off in our game anymore, because if there is a night off, there's so many good players that you're going to lose. And it's like in any sport now, where the parity in the league is really gotten better. I guess salary cap is why that has happened, but we need to be accountable every night, and to know the value of each 2 points, that somewhere down the road we're going to need them going into the playoffs.
Yeah, if you look at how the playoffs shaped up towards the end of the season this year, I mean, it was down the last 3-4 days. I mean, you look at the 3-4 teams are in the mix with, you know, obviously Florida and teams like that. But you know, you look at the team that's going to be healthy next year. You're going to have a healthy Paul Ranger. You're going to have a healthy Andre Mazzaros. Vinny LeCavalier is going to be 100%. There's some questions, obviously.
You think Vinny will be with this team next year? There's so much talk that he won't be.
I can't say. I'm not privy to that stuff that goes on with obviously the GM and the owners. But you know, I would hope he'd be. But you know, if not, if you're going to trade him, you better look to get some good blue chip prospects in return. Meaning, you know, a defenseman, a forward, you know, first rounder, and a second rounder. It's got to be one of those Joe Thornton type packages. And you look at the Bruins, Joe Thornton, when they traded him, you know, Dave was there with him. And, you know, Boston was up in arms. There were people in Boston were, you know, losing it and going crazy. And then we'll look at the Boston Bruins this year. You know,
it took a few years to rebound from that trade. But, you know, in Vinny's case, we can build a team around him. There's no doubt that he's one of the elite players. You got to put people around him. I mean, the good thing is, in my eyes, for him and us as an organization, is that he's wanted. He's a wanted commodity in this league. And when you have a guy that's on your team that's wanted by all the rest of the guys in the league, you should be proud of that. And I think, you know, the pieces are there with him and Marty and you know, Vinny Prospal and Malone is there now. I mean, there are pieces there, and Vinny is a big part of that.
I'm in the middle of a conversation with Chris Stigman and Dave Andreychuk are joining us at ESPN 1040 on the Fabulous Sports Page Show. We're talking hockey, Lightning hockey, and we're talking about the fantasy hockey camp that's coming up in July. If you're interested, you want to find out more, it's going to be 5 days. You can work your ass off, but you're also going to get to eat, drink, and also play golf. So you have to go and bother them. 813-301-6755. Call Ben, because he has nothing in the world to do besides sit around and wait for somebody to call him all day long. So you have to call Ben and bother him. We have to take a break. We're doing all kinds of things. I promise you, I will get to your phone calls on the other side. Talking some Lightning hockey, talking hockey with Chris and Andy. Join us, 577-1040, 289-1040. If you're driving around, it's a free call thanks to me on Alltel Wireless at pound 1040. That wasn't too hard, was it? Hang in there.